Hey friends, welcome back to the Guitar Mechanics channel, and I have another guitar from Vola to check out. Vola is quickly becoming my favorite Japanese brand simply because this guitar right here is everything that a modern guitar is supposed to be. I'm not talking about modern guitars as in gimmicky stuff or features that nobody really wants, where they're just making some new feature just to say they have something new. This guitar is a super refined version of all of the features that guitar players for the past many decades have really gravitated towards. So it's a guitar that is still traditional in some ways, but the execution of the guitar has been done with modern day perfection. That's how I like to think of it anyway. And we'll go over the specs of this guitar in just a second here, but first I want to talk about the price of this guitar, right? This guitar costs right around $1,200. This is the Vola ROA, and depending on which finish you get, the price range is right like around $1,200 to $1,300 right there. This one here is actually the least expensive color. It's like $11.89 for this. And while yes, it costs more than a Firefly or a Harley Benton, when you compare this made in Japan guitar to like the new Jackson guitars that are made in Japan, those guitars start at around $2,000. And it just gets more impressive as we get into the specs, because this is a beautiful mahogany body. It's got an ash top. This is that really cool open pore finish. Again, another very modern feature, right? And there's this white one, then there's a black version of it. Then they've got a roasted maple neck. The hardware is Gotoh, so the bridge and the tuners are Gotoh. Vola is using their own pickups on this model, humbucker single arrangement, and you've got coil splitting down here. The neck and fretboard, it's all one piece, so the whole thing is the roasted maple, and it's 22 standard frets, and it's a satin finish, not only on the neck, but the whole guitar has a satin finish. And they've got this really cool feature that most of the Volas have, where they have the clear pick guard that goes over the body. So you're protecting the body while still actually being able to see all of it. Now we'll get into the demo in just a minute here, but this guitar sounds great and plays great, and the thing that blows my mind completely is the bridge here. These Gotoh bridges, it's not a locking bridge, right? It's not a Floyd Rose or a Kahler or anything like that. These are one of the few non-locking bridges that actually stay in tune. You compare this to the old school strat style vintage bridges, I mean, this thing just beats it hands down. This, as the saying goes, this is not your grandfather's strat, but if your grandfather likes strats, he would still really like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the demo. We'll hear how it sounds. It's a really nice sounding guitar. And then we'll talk a little bit more about it, and like in particular why you would choose this model over some of the other Vola guitars that I reviewed in the past. But of course guys, real quick, if you enjoy videos like this, checking out cool new guitars and staying up on all the latest news in the guitar universe, and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, let's go ahead and plug this in, and for the demo I'm using my Fender GTX 100 combo amp, and also in a few cases I'm going to be plugging in my old reliable Boss SD1 for a little extra punch. Okay, let's listen to how this sounds. This guitar is so much fun to play. It's the kind of guitar where if you pick it up first thing in the morning, you can pretty much assume that you're going to have a good hair day. Okay, so let's talk about the pickups, and then we'll get into some other things. These are the proprietary Vola pickups, right? And I know sometimes when you think of pickups that are like the guitar brands pickups, like the Jackson pickups, or I don't know, BC Rich pickups or something like that. Sometimes when you think of those, they don't always have a good reputation, right? Sometimes the guitar brands pickups are like the cheaper pickups. That's not always true, but sometimes it is the case. And in this case, it's not at all like that. I mean, these pickups sound noticeably like rich and powerful. I'm not that big of a fan of single coil pickups in general, and it's usually just because they have this really like plinky, kind of weak sound that I just don't really like. I like a big fat humbucker to punch you in the face. But these single coil pickups, they do have a lot of power. They do have a lot of punch. They do have a lot of presence to them. You know, not presence in the amplifier sense, but just presence, right? They really make themselves known. And these pickups, they do that while still, I think, retaining the good things about single coil pickup tone that most people do like. Also, this bridge right here, this is the Gotoh 510T. It's a 2-point bridge, and it's got the screw-in arm, which I really like. But I don't know how they designed this exactly, but somehow they have been able to make this bridge really stay in tune, like dead on in tune, without any locking saddles or a locking nut or anything like that. And in almost every case, any non-locking bridge that I have used, I've always had tuning problems with it. Maybe it's something about me, but when I see a bridge like this, I see it from a distance, I'm like, oh, I don't want that. It's not going to stay in tune. This one does. Gotoh nailed it. And this bridge is one that they use on a lot of the different Vola guitars. There are some exceptions to that. There are some models that use a double locking bridge, but this one here I think is kind of their go-to Gotoh bridge that Vola likes to use. Now, Vola has many different models, and they've got different kinds of pickups. Some of them have different control layouts, like I mentioned before, sometimes different bridges and hardware options. To me, though, this is kind of their like off-the-shelf standard guitar. If you want one of these really nicely made in Japan Vola guitars, and at the same time you want something that's kind of traditional, that's going to feel and play in a very familiar way to you, I think this is the model you really go for. It's tried and true construction, a tried and true pickup arrangement and control layout, and this is the kind of guitar where even if you've never played this guitar before, any guitar player could pick this up and it's going to feel good and it's going to feel kind of familiar. If you compare this one to like the OZ RV TNC, I checked out, that was actually the first Vola guitar that I checked out in a beautiful transparent flame red. And it's got the same body shape as this, but that one has a much more complex control layout. And while I think you could get tones out of that guitar that maybe you couldn't get out of this one, there's a learning curve with that guitar. It takes a little while to get used to that control system. This one here, anybody can just plug in and go, yet you still have the coil splitting and the 5-way switch and a lot of different really nice sounds that you can easily get from this guitar. Okay guys, so now here's the business part of the video. I've got a deal set up with Vola where if you use the Guitar Max discount code, you get 5% off, and on a guitar that's, you know, over $1,000, 5% is significant. And then the other part of that is there's a link that you can follow, and I'm going to have all this information down in the video description below, but if you follow that link, then I will get a little kickback for it myself. And guys, honestly, 100 low lead avgas has been going up. I could use the money. Okay guys, so check out the link. You can check out the different colors that this one is available in. Did I mention it includes a gig bag? So yeah, there's just nothing to complain about with these guitars. Build quality is 10 out of 10. They sound great, they play great. And yeah, like I said, it's a guitar that it just feels, you know, it feels like you've had the guitar for a long time, even the first time you pick it up and play it. All right guys, so the last thing is all of the Vola owners out there, what model do you have and do you like it, and how does it compare to the other guitars that you've owned in the past? Let us know down in the comments section below. I would love to read that. Okay guys, that's it for this video. Thanks a ton for watching. I'm going to have links to everything I was talking about in the video down in the video description below. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you very soon.